You did something today that you do every single day. You used a brain that remembers almost nothing about how it was built. Try to recall your second birthday, your first steps, the first time you looked at your mother and understood the face was hers. You can't. Not the real thing. Maybe a photo. Maybe a story you've been told so many times that hardened into something that feels like a memory. But the moment itself is gone. You lived through 3 whole years, and you'll never get them back. Psychologists have a name for this. Childhood amnesia. And it's stranger than it sounds. Because you weren't asleep for those years. You were learning faster than you ever will again. So where did all of it go? The first person to take this seriously was Sigmund Freud in 1899. He noticed that almost no adult could remember anything before the age of 3 or 4. He thought the mind buried those years on purpose, hid them somewhere dark. He had the reason wrong, but he was right that something was missing. Here's what the data actually shows. Ask an adult for their earliest memory, and the answer almost always lands around 3.5. Before that, a wall. A few people swear they remember something from age 2. Almost no one remembers anything from age 1. And the memories that do survive are thin, broken, and sometimes not even true. Carol Peterson at Memorial University spent years collecting people's first memories. The same border kept showing up. Real autobiographical memory switches on around 3. Everything before it dissolves. Your first memory might not even be yours. In 2018, Shazia Akhtar and Martin Conway surveyed more than 1,000 people about their earliest one. A large share described moments from before age 2. A time the brain almost certainly can't store. So those weren't memories. They were reconstructions, built later out of photographs, family stories, and a little imagination, then filed away as if they'd happened. People walk around with a first memory they never actually lived, and they have no way to tell. But young children clearly do remember things. A 3-year-old can tell you what happened at the zoo last month. A 2-year-old knows exactly where the cookies are hidden. The memory works. So why doesn't it last? Patricia Bauer at Emory followed this for years. She recorded kids talking about events when they were 3, then came back as they got older. At 5 and 6, they still remembered. By 7 and 8 and 9, the same memories were disappearing right in front of her. The children were forgetting their own childhoods in real time, right on schedule. The memories got made, then quietly erased. So what does the erasing? For a long time, the best answer pointed at the hippocampus, the part of the brain that turns experience into long-term memory. In a baby, it's a construction site. In 2014, 2 researchers in Toronto, Paul Franklin and Sheena Jocelyn, found something strange in mice. Infant brains grow new neurons at an enormous rate. Neurogenesis. Sounds like nothing but good news. More brain cells. But there's a cost. Every time a new neuron wires itself into the hippocampus, it disturbs the connections already there. The same growth that builds the brain, or writes over what's stored inside it. They proved it both ways. Speed up neurogenesis in adult mice, and the adults start forgetting like infants. Slow it down in baby mice, and the babies hold on to memories they'd normally lose. The forgetting wasn't a flaw. It was the price of building a brain at full speed, and it's not just us. The same pattern turns up in other animals, which means this is older and deeper than human childhood. There's a second suspect, language. Think about what a memory really is. A story you can tell. But for your first years, you had no words to tell it with. The I that experiences things, the sense of being a separate person, doesn't fully arrive until around age 2. In one classic study, Gabrielle Simcock and Harlene Hayne taught toddlers how to work a strange little machine. Later, the children could still show what they learned with their hands. But they couldn't describe it, not using words they hadn't owned at the time. The memory was locked in a language the older child no longer spoke. You can't open a file in a format your brain stopped supporting. So that was the picture for decades. A growing brain erases the memories. And whatever survives is trapped behind a wall of missing words. Then in 2025, the picture cracked. A team at Yale, led by Nick Turk-Brown, did something that used to be almost impossible. They scanned awake infants inside an MRI while the babies looked at new images, and they watched the infant hippocampus light up as it encoded a memory. The babies were forming real memories. Their brains were saving the file, which flips the whole question. Childhood amnesia might not be a failure to record at all. The memories could still be in there. We just lose the key. It's not that nothing was written, it's that nothing can be read back. And here's the part that should sit with you. None of this is a malfunction. It happens to nearly every human who has ever lived, on a schedule so reliable that scientists can predict the exact age that the wall appears. Evolution had 300,000 years to fix it, and didn't. So maybe forgetting your own beginning isn't a glitch in being human. Maybe it's built in, on purpose. Think about what those lost years actually held. You learned to walk. You learned a whole language from nothing, the hardest thing your mind will ever do. You worked out that you were a separate person with a face and a name. You learned who was safe and who wasn't. You built the foundation of everything you are. And you remember none of it. The person hearing this is standing on a structure you can never go back and visit. Your fears, your habits, the way you flinch or trust or reach for comfort when you're scared. A lot of that was said in those first silent years. The lessons stayed. The memories left. Somewhere in your first 3 years, you became you. It was the most important thing that ever happened to you. And it's the one thing you'll never remember.